take a moment to say, Michelle, the WrestleMania season is upon us, which means the Hall of Fame season is upon us. And I would like to tell you right now that you will be being inducted into the 2025 Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Oh my God.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Oh my gosh.
Congrats.
Look at this. There
One
it
of the
is. The
women-
first look at it. Michelle
One
McCool
of the
in the
women that
WWE Hall of
transformed
Fame.
what we do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I don't like to cry.
Congratulations, Michelle. Very well deserved and long overdue.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. Donovan, the Bulls coach, he coached. He had some more success in Calvin than the NBA. Mark Few, longtime coach of Gonzaga. Dwight Howard, Marcus Johnson, the player, not familiar with him. Jerry Welsh, that's a coach from way back in the day. And then Buck Williams, a player from way back in the day. The women's finalists were Jennifer Ozzie Sue Bird, Sylvia Fowles, and Maya Moore. Then you had Molly Bolan was like a veteran committee for the women. International committee was Dusan Ivokic. Apologies if I pronounced that wrong. And then the contributors were Mickey Arson and Taj Brody. Mickey Arson is the owner of the Miami Heat. So most of these should probably get in. Carmelo, I do think he's a Hall of Famer. We're actually going to get a mic request. It's going to be Randy, RC Milton. We haven't talked to him in a while. So, Randy, how's it going? How are you?
Yeah, no, I'm doing great. Hope you're doing well also.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm assuming you guys got a little bit of snow and it's a little bit.
We did.
Your way as well.
Yeah, we've gotten some snow. It's week and a half, 2 weeks ago, we got like a lot of snow. It was like 7 to 8 inches, and then like a couple days here and there, we've gotten like an inch or two here and there. But we've gotten a good amount of snow for sure.
Yeah.
At least up here.
I mean, yeah, no, I mean, obviously, I am just all about the Four Nations face-off.
Oh yeah, that's been a very good,
going on.
pleasant surprise.
Yeah. I mean, truthfully, I didn't even know. You probably know, Jake, that I'm a big basketball guy. I didn't even realize the All-Star game was going on until
Brutal.
a couple of days before the fact, and you know, I mean, that's just a complete odyssey in itself. It's but the Four Nations face-off. I mean, the NHL really hit a home run.
They did
with this tournament, and to think that Russia is not even a part of this tournament. So
yeah.
It's really looking forward to us guys facing you guys on Thursday.
Yeah, that USA Canada game was electric a few days ago. Well, it was a great hockey game. Obviously the United States comes out on top, but Canada gets the big win the other day. So we will get a rematch on Thursday. I'm assuming both teams will be fully healthy. I know Cale McCart's not playing the game against the United States for Canada. He said he was sick, so I'm sure they'll have him.
He did play.
Yeah, see, he's already back, right?
He's already back. So, just a huge part of instrumental for U.S. And I mean, Matthew, he got hurt during the Canada game. Brady got hurt in the Sweden game yesterday. So U.S. has some questions for sure.
Definitely, and I've heard Mike Sullivan, the head coach, say that he expects them to play. It's leaning towards them playing, which they're going to need. I don't know how they're going to even compete in that game without those two guys. You saw how important they were throughout this whole tournament in that Canada game, starting to face off, with the two fights. He had 3 fights in the first 9 seconds of that game. And so, yeah, the U.S. definitely needs those two guys, and I do think they will have them, which will be good to see because Canada's got McCarr back. U.S. gets the Kachuk burst fully healthy, and it'll literally be the best players in the world against the best players in the world. It does not get better than that.
Absolutely not. And hopefully this will kickstart the NHL to have a consistent international program. I mean, they don't have anything like this in a consistent 4-year stretch. And I truly believe that if there was a 4-year consistent tournament like a World Cup, like Euro and soccer, I think the Olympics would be irrelevant in terms of NHL players, hockey players, postponing the regular season to take part in an international tournament like this, like they're doing in 4 nations.
Yeah, and the NHL hasn't sent their players to the Olympics in a very long time. It's just unfortunate that it falls right in the middle of the season, so you have to take basically 3 weeks off from the NHL season if you do send the players to the Olympics. Obviously, everyone worries about injuries. John Tavares, when he's still at the Islanders, had a very major injury in the Olympics. I think Matt Zuccarello, when he was with the Rangers, suffered a somewhat major injury. So, and a couple of other guys did get hurt as well. So, that's always a concern. But this 4 Nations, it's been great. No one's really gotten hurt. The Kachuk press got nicked up, but it looks like they're going to be in the game for Thursday. And if not, I'm sure they'll be fine for their first or second games back with their NHL team. So that's been a plus, and it's gone very well. And my question is for the NHL: if you're only doing this every 4 years, like what do you do in the other 3 years? I know you have the World Cup of Hockey every 2 years, so that can take its place. Maybe in its place, but if you're doing this once every 4 years, what are you gonna do the other 3 years?
Well, I mean, I think the question is, does the next 4 Nations tournament not include Russia?
That's true.
Number one. To have an additional team, I think that there's a lot of value in having a Team Europe. So guys like Draisaitl and the Czech players, the Danish players, take part. That's number one. And I mean, say whatever you want about the NBA All-Star Game.
Brutal.
We all know what the appetite for sports fans are in the U.S. and that their go-to would be basketball before hockey. And as successful as the 4 Nations was, I cannot believe that this tournament, let alone Canada-U.S., was during All-Star Weekend.
Yeah.
How can you how can that oversight take place? I collab with guys from Mississippi and on my podcast, and they have taken notice to the 4 Nations face-off, but they, I think, are the minority. And you could have had it the weekend before, the weekend after,
right?
And it's just another blunder, in my opinion, that the NHL did.
Yeah, look, I do think most Americans this year did watch the 4 Nations over the NBA All-Star Weekend. The NBA All-Star Weekend for a few years now has not been very good. It reached the all-time low this year. But if the NBA is able to fix it, which is a big if, they have their own issues. I don't know how they're going to fix this. It's gotten so bad. But if they can find a way to fix it, or even make it watchable, I think the majority of the American eyes will go to the All-Star Weekend over the 4 Nations tournament, just because, like you said, Randy, in this country, basketball does take precedent over hockey. That's the way it is, at least right now, and probably has been for a good while. So in the future, they should probably move that off of the same weekend as the NBA All-Star Weekend. And I'm not sure why they didn't this year. They kind of got lucky this year because of how bad the All-Star Weekend was, and how good the Four Nations tournament was. But going off your point with Russia, I get Russia, the country itself, has their issues with, certainly with my country. I couldn't tell you what the issues were with your country, and I don't follow that. That's a whole nother show, actually. Obviously, I'm not going to cover that on my show, on this show, but they probably should be in it. And then you probably would have to add a sixth team as well if you add Russia, just to make it even, and then you could, like, maybe Germany, but they only have so many players. I think Draisaitl will be one of them. And there's a bunch of guys. You can make up a full team, but you have a bunch of guys. Like, you can't do it with Norway's. I think it's just Matt Cooray and one other, like, rookie in the NHL right now. But like you said already, maybe it's like a European team. Like, you combine, like, Germany and Czech, and just so you can make a full team.
I think that's the only way to go with that.
Yeah.
I'm reluctant. I mean, I'm skeptical on having a Four Nations tournament every year because, the luster is going to fade, and I think people will get tired of it.
Mm.
Regarding the NBA All-Star Game, there's only one solution, and that's winning conference gets Game 7 of the NBA Finals. And that's the only solution. I mean, I don't... Okay, let's say, I'm always hearing $1 million for the winning team.
Joke.
For whatever reason, that is not alluring enough.
Because they just make too much money now. I've seen these contracts; they're out of control. Like, $1 million to you and I, that's life changing. But $1 million to, any of these guys, like $1 million to Giannis Antetokounmpo, is nothing when you're making $50 million a season.
I think what the suggestion was is $1 million for the team. So if you got 12 guys, you're divvying it up less than $100,000, and $100,000 is what, like, 80 grand, 85 grand is what some players get fined.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't even know if $1 million per player is alluring enough.
It's not.
Guys like LeBron, guys like Giannis. I mean, you want to even throw like a Jaylen Brown and a Fred VanVleet in there.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are they are not going to burn through that their NBA earnings in a lifetime.
No.
And it's not going to like $1 million isn't going to make or break them. But there are why am I blanking on if a Norman Powell took part of the tournament and the lower end of those All-Stars, then maybe that might get him somewhere. But like I said, it's just not alluring enough, and it is so unwatchable. I didn't watch a single second.
I tried. It was so bad. I had to turn it off.
Yeah, and I mean, the early feedback is that it was too much about the NBA and TNT crew, and I mean, these are guys: Chuck, Shaq, Ernie, and Kenny Smith, and basketball fans can't get enough of these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, they're complaining about how much they were in front of the camera during that weekend. I mean, like, they can't even they can't do anything about it. Kevin Hart, one of the top comedians in the world, can't get enough of he said that he was on too much. So yeah, Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Jake, I know you're a big baseball guy.
Right.
I don't know what your thoughts
baseball used to do that,
home field advantage for the World Series during the All-Star Game that Bud Selig implemented.
Mm-hmm.
Baseball's the most competitive of the All-Star games, but for hockey and basketball, I think that they have to seriously consider that.
Yeah, I mean, baseball used to do it. They haven't done it in a while, but it made the All-Star Game mean something at least, and it was a little... There was a little loophole in it. It's like, first of all, so it's AL versus NL. If you're playing, if you're because in baseball they have that stupid rule where every team gets like a guy to represent them. So like the White Sox this year, who might be just as bad as they were last year, that going in they look just as bad. In fact, they on paper arguably are worse. Are going to have a representative. Who knows who it will be, whether it's Luis Robert or somebody else. If you know you're telling them like, oh well, you get home field advantage in the World Series. Luis Robert is like, dude, we're on pace to be the worst team ever. I don't really care. And you know, and also if let's say you have let's say the National League wins, and then the National League team in the World Series was a wild card team, and they're playing the American League team that won 100 games. It's like, oh well, the American League team doesn't have home field advantage because their league lost an expedition game. I think that's kind of silly, but at the same time, you got to make this game worth watching. And if you're not putting something on the line, it's hard for these guys. These guys obviously don't want to get hurt. There's out there just having fun. So you got to make it mean something.
I'm gonna say though, because of the size of the All-Star Game roster, Jake,
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to each team being represented. I mean, your point is 100% valid with the White Sox, and is there a possibility of a White Sox player taking the spot of somebody who is more deserving? I mean, that remains to be seen, but I mean, it's impossible to do it with basketball. It's just as hard to do it for hockey. Who cares about the Pro Bowl? But I mean, I think that it's. I'm actually for it, but I do think baseball's the anomaly, though.
Yeah, like, and look, I'm not saying like, oh, because he played for the White Sox, he shouldn't be in. Like, if a player on the White Sox is having an All-Star kind of season, just the rest of his team is just so bad, that doesn't mean he shouldn't be invited to the All-Star game. Of course, his individual success should be realized, but like a couple of years ago, Michael Lorenzen made the All-Star team. He was pitching for the Reds or the Royals or something, and I think it might have been the Detroit Tigers. He had like a 4.3 ERA, and that guy made the All-Star team because you had to get a Detroit player in the All-Star game. The team was just so bad there was nobody else. Like, we shouldn't just force a guy in there just so every team can be represented. And like you said, Randy, the rosters are so big. In the NBA, you're only going to have, 12 or 15 guys. In the NHL, you'll have, in the past, you were having maybe 20 guys on the team. Football doesn't really have a game anymore because it got so bad. But in baseball, yes, the roster is so big. You're going to have, close to probably 30 guys on each team. So I get it. You got it. You do have to fill up the roster. You're not gonna pitch guys more than an inning or two. You can't get guys hurt. They throw enough innings as it is. But just don't force a guy who's not having an All-Star season into the All-Star game.
Yeah, I mean that's you have to weigh both pros and cons. To your point, which is 100% valid, of course, versus versus my point. I mean, is there something about rewarding a player who is on that bad a team? I mean, it's a brief Band-Aid. It's a brief fix to an otherwise terrible season. I mean, I for one don't remember who represented Oakland in the this past All-Star game, let alone Chicago. I mean, the All-Star game has really lost its luster. As well as for baseball. But it's an interesting scenario for sure.
It's definitely tough, but they're gonna have to do something in the NBA. Whether they try and take a page out of the NHL's book and maybe do Team World against Team USA. I mean, there's so many international guys in the NBA that I'm not sure how close the game would even be. You think of the international team, you have Jokic, you have Wembanyama and Giannis, and just the U.S. team. Like, all right, you have LeBron James, you have Steph Curry, you have Kevin Durant. First of all, those guys are getting up there. LeBron's, at least hopefully, is not going to play much longer. So I doubt. God, he can't retire fast enough for me.
You're a beauty, Jake.
Steph isn't going to play much longer. most likely Kevin Durant. You're thinking plus or minus 5 years, probably on the minus side. So like, but there is a bunch of young guys. You got guys like Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Brunson and guys like that. Anthony Edwards, of course. So I think they can make it work. I think it'd be a lot of fun. I mean, I think if it seems like for a lot of these sports, when you throw East and West or this conference or that conference on their jersey, they really don't care. But when you throw their country's flag on the jersey, they seem to care a lot more, especially in the NHL. In the NBA, I would think they would care a little more. I mean, you can't care any less. So, worth a shot, maybe?
I've always thought that this USA versus the world would thrive as a 7-game series.
Yeah,
and
really.
And I also think that, look, we don't need it in North America. I think that
They can, they can alternate, yeah.
Why does it need to be in North America? Why not have it in Spain? Why
Yeah.
not have it now? I know the time
Yeah.
difference is what it is. We go through that through the Olympics,
Mhm.
and well, I mean, the Olympics, the brand is what it is, and
Right.
like, are people going to stay up, and adjust their day-to-day routine to watch a one-off tournament, the first of its kind?
Mhm.
I mean, I think, to have a 7-game series, the LeBrons, the Stephs, the KDs, they're not going to be participating. You don't think, but if they did, I mean, look at Paris, and all those guys took part, and I can imagine that ratings went through the roof. So, I mean, I'm still skeptical to do a one-off during All-Star Weekend because I just have the opinion that basketball and NBA players are not going to try, regardless of what's at stake.
It's possible. Again, yeah, it's possible. Absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, regarding a 7-game series like they have it for this Four Nations face-off, however, during the summer, I think it would be an absolute gold mine.
Yeah, yeah, that would be a lot of fun for sure. And I mean, like, I think it's the real problem with the All-Star game is it's weird. I actually saw on social media it was a clip from it was actually Tyrese Halliburton on a podcast actually with former U.S. President Barack Obama, and and Obama said to Hal. Yeah. And Obama says to Halliburton, he's like, "You guys gotta try a little more in the All-Star game." And Halliburton was like, "Yeah, my dad said the same thing." He was saying, like, he was a rookie and like everyone else was not playing defense, so he kind of like, kind of followed suit as the new guy. And he actually made a good point. Obviously he's obviously an ex-politician. He's not like necessarily a sports guy. But he said, like, in the off season, these guys play pickup all the time, just to have a good time and stay in shape and stuff like that. Obviously, these guys become friends, and like, they don't play like they would if this was Game 7 of the playoffs. They don't want to get hurt, obviously, in the off season in an exhibition game with their friends. It's not sanctioned by the league, but they try, they play enough defense to where it's not where like other guys aren't throwing them off the court. Like, that's all we're looking for. Like, at least like attempt to play defense. I'm not saying to get up in guys' faces and be arguing with the referees for every call like you do in the regular season. And you don't gotta treat it like Game 7 of the finals, but at least treat it like a normal, like treat it like a pickup game. Don't treat it like it's some like sideshow that you don't want to be there. Like, you're making millions and millions of dollars to basically play a pickup game. That sounds like a lot of fun to me. So at least do that. So maybe if you put the countries on the jersey for a U.S. versus World game for the NBA, maybe that'll do it. Like you said, and I agree, Randy. You don't have to have it in North America. Like, do it like 1 year you have it in North America. The next year you have it, whether it's in Spain or in Greece or wherever in France. But yeah, you go back and forth with that. But like, that's really the only fix I see. And if not, you'll just have to get rid of the game altogether at that point.
I never saw that
It popped up on my feed the other day. I was like, all right, he actually made a legit point there.
Yeah, absolutely he did. And I mean, what else can you really say? I think that there is something about potentially getting hurt in an All-Star game.
Yeah.
I think now, what if the players from like the Jordans and the Ewings and the David Robinsons, did they just not have this top of mind? I mean, like,
Yeah.
Sure. Actually, I couldn't remember who said it, but it was an interview on Barstool Sports, and the comparison was that, okay, when you compare the All-Star games of today versus 30 years ago, you're always seeing the highlights of 30 years ago. You're not seeing
the full
game
game
itself. Now, of course, they are going harder than they are today.
Yes.
But the guy who was being interviewed was like, yeah, you're seeing the dunks by Jordan. You're seeing the slam dunk contest by Vince Carter.
Right.
And you're only enhancing the highlights as opposed to the docs. So, regardless, it is obviously just so unwatchable. And I mean, I really hope the NBA stops beating around the bush. Just simply identify the Game 7 of the NBA Finals. That's really the only way.
Yeah, it's either do that or try the U.S. versus World thing, and then if it fails, it fails. That's really the only thing you could possibly do. And like you make a good point. You know, in the '90s with Jordan and Kobe and Scottie Pippen and Elijah Wan, these guys, they were trying. And like again, like you mentioned a very good point. You see the highlights, like, whoa, look, they're throwing down dunks, they're blocking shots. Like, yes, it's one highlight, but they're trying harder than they are now, and that's probably all what fans want. Like, at least go out there and play and entertain us. We're not asking for like a game that in 20 years we're going to talk about as one of the all-time greats, but we just want you to go out there and entertain us. It's an all-star game. It's supposed to be entertaining and fun. That's what it's supposed to be. And just with them not trying, it's on top of obviously the game doesn't count to anything, so who really cares about like who actually wins? It's not even entertaining. And if you're not going to entertain us, there's no point of even playing the game.
Well, and that's the another legit question. I mean, is there even a point to having an all-star game?
Right.
What's the point? I mean, the slam dunk competition. I mean, look.
Slam dunk competition. Just a joke.
I'm from Toronto.
Right.
They are, going absolutely buck wild because 25 years ago was Vince Carter's dunk competition appearance in Golden State. They inspired this year's City Connect jersey with his between the legs dunk from the slam dunk competition. But you take that dunk from 25 years ago